When Noah Carter walked into that upscale restaurant for a blind date he never wanted, he expected polite rejection, maybe pity. What he didn't expect was to find his company's untouchable billionaire CEO sitting across from him, mascara-stained and trembling, two people drowning in different oceans, about to collide in ways that would shake an empire and rewrite both their lives. This is their story, raw, messy, and real. If you want to see where loneliness, power, and second chances take them, stay until the end. Hit that like button and drop your city in the comments so I can see how far this journey reaches. The apartment smelled like burnt toast and failure. Noah Carter stood at the kitchen counter, scraping charred bread into the trash, while his daughter hummed some cartoon theme song in the living room. 6 years old, and she still believed the world was good, still believed her dad had all the answers. He wished he could believe that too. "Daddy, the TV's doing the fuzzy thing again." Noah sighed, tossed the knife into the sink, and walked over to jiggle the cable box. The screen flickered, then settled. Another thing held together by hope and electrical tape. Like everything else in his life. "Better?" "Yeah." Emma grinned up at him, gap-toothed and perfect. She was wearing her favorite purple pajamas, the ones with the knees worn thin. He kept meaning to buy her new ones, kept meaning to do a lot of things. His phone buzzed on the coffee table. He ignored it. "You gonna answer that?" Emma asked, not looking away from her show. "Probably just work." "You always say that." She wasn't wrong. Noah picked up the phone, already bracing himself for another weekend shift or some last-minute report nobody would read. But it wasn't work. It was Marcus. "Still bailing on me tonight?" Noah had forgotten. Completely forgotten. The blind date. The one Marcus had been pestering him about for 3 weeks. He typed back quickly. "Can't get a sitter." The response came immediately. "Already handled. My sister's on her way. 7 p.m. Russo's downtown. Don't make me look bad." Noah stared at the message. Russo's. That place cost more for an appetizer than he spent on groceries in a week. "Who's that?" Emma had turned around now, curious. "Uncle Marcus." "Is he coming over?" "No, sweetheart. He got me a date." Emma's eyes went wide. "Like a date? With a girl?" "With a woman, yeah." "Is she pretty?" Noah rubbed his face. "I don't know. I've never met her." "That's weird." "Yeah, it really is." Emma studied him with that too-old look she sometimes got. The one that reminded him she'd grown up watching him struggle, watching him barely hold it together after Sarah died. 3 years, and he still felt like he was treading water in the dark. "You should go," Emma said softly. "You think?" "Uncle Marcus is trying to help, and you never go anywhere fun." Noah's throat tightened. His 6-year-old shouldn't have to worry about whether he had fun. She shouldn't have to notice that he worked 60-hour weeks and came home too tired to do anything but microwave dinner and help with homework. "Okay," he heard himself say. "Okay, I'll go." Emma beamed. "You have to wear the blue shirt, the one that makes you look fancy." "I don't have a fancy shirt." "The blue one, Daddy." He knew the one she meant. The button-down he'd bought for Sarah's funeral and hadn't worn since. It still had the creases from being folded in the back of his closet for 3 years. By 6:30, Marcus's sister had arrived, a cheerful college student named Tessa, who Emma immediately loved. By 6:45, Noah was standing in his bathroom, staring at himself in the mirror and wondering what the hell he was doing. The blue shirt fit worse than he remembered. Or maybe he'd just lost more weight. He looked tired, older than 32. The kind of tired that sleep didn't fix. His phone buzzed. Marcus again. "You better not be chickening out." Noah typed back, "On my way." He kissed Emma goodbye, reminded Tessa about the bedtime routine, and walked out into the April evening feeling like a man heading toward execution. Russo's was exactly as intimidating as he'd feared. The hostess looked him over with the kind of polite assessment that said she could tell he didn't belong there. The tables were filled with people in clothes that cost more than his rent. Soft jazz played from hidden speakers. Everything smelled expensive. "Reservation?" the hostess asked. Maybe under Marcus Webb?" She checked her tablet. "Ah, yes. Your party is already here. This way." Noah followed her through the restaurant, past couples murmuring over wine, past businessmen celebrating deals, past lives that looked nothing like his. She stopped at a corner table, partially hidden by an ornamental plant. "Enjoy your evening." She walked away before Noah could process what he was seeing. The woman at the table had her head down, one hand pressed to her forehead. Even from where he stood, he could see her shoulders shaking. She was crying, actually crying, right there in the middle of Russo's and trying desperately to hide it. For a second, Noah considered turning around. This was clearly a mistake. Marcus had obviously set him up with someone dealing with her own catastrophe, and the last thing either of them needed was this. But then she looked up. Noah's stomach dropped. He knew that face. Everyone at Hale Industries knew that face. It was on the company website, in the quarterly reports, in the business journals that circulated through the break room. Victoria Hale, CEO, billionaire. The woman who'd built her father's struggling company into a multinational empire before she turned 30. And she was supposed to be his blind date. "You're..." Noah's voice came out strangled. "You're Victoria Hale." She stared at him, mascara smudged under red-rimmed eyes, and for a moment neither of them moved. Then she did something he didn't expect. She laughed. It was a broken, bitter sound. Of course he didn't tell you." "Tell me what?" "Who I am, what this is." She grabbed her purse. "I'm sorry, this was a stupid idea. You should go." But Noah didn't move. Because underneath the expensive dress and the smudged makeup and the aura of untouchable power, he saw something he recognized: loneliness. The same kind he saw in his own mirror every morning. "I'm Noah," he said quietly, "and I really don't want to go back to my apartment right now." Victoria looked up at him, surprised. "You work at Hale Industries, engineering division. You know who I am?" "I know everyone who works for me. At least, I try to." She gestured to the empty chair. "You really want to sit? I'm not exactly great company tonight." Noah sat. Joined the club. A waiter appeared instantly, too professional to react to Victoria's tear-stained face. "Good evening. May I start you with something to drink?" "Whiskey," Victoria said. "Neat. The good stuff." "Sir." Noah glanced at the wine list on the table and felt his chest tighten at the prices. "Just water, thanks." The waiter left. Silence settled over the table like fog. "I'm sorry," Victoria said finally. "This is humiliating. You came here for a normal date and instead you got this. What is this?" She laughed again. That same broken sound. Desperation? A moment of weakness? My assistant thought I needed to connect with someone outside my usual circle. She set this up without telling me details. I assume the same thing happened to you. "My best friend," Noah confirmed. "He's been nagging me for months." "About?" "Getting out more, meeting people, the usual concerned friend stuff." Victoria studied him. "You don't date much." "I don't date at all. I have a 6-year-old daughter and a job that barely pays the bills. Not exactly prime dating material." "Single father?" "Widower." Something shifted in Victoria's expression. "I'm sorry." "It was 3 years ago. Car accident. I'm okay now." He wasn't sure why he was telling her this. Maybe because she'd already seen him at his most uncomfortable. Maybe because something about sitting across from the most powerful person in his professional world made pretending feel pointless. The drinks arrived. Victoria took a long sip of her whiskey. "I'm not supposed to be here," she said. "I have a board meeting tomorrow morning. I should be reviewing reports, preparing remarks, being the CEO? A robot. That's what they want. Someone who doesn't crack, doesn't feel, just makes money and breaks competitors." She set down her glass. "I'm very good at it." "You built Hale Industries into what it is now. I've read the articles. The articles don't mention what you give up, what you lose." She looked at him directly. "Do you know what it's like to walk into a room and watch everyone's face change? To see people stop being human and start being, performers? Everyone wanting something, everyone calculating." Noah thought about the engineering floor, the way people talked around him, not to him, the way his ideas got absorbed into reports with other people's names on them. "Different scale," he said. "But yeah, I think I do." Victoria's eyes narrowed slightly. "What do you mean?" He shouldn't say it. She was his boss's boss's boss. Complaining would be professional suicide. But something about this whole surreal situation made him reckless. "I've been at Hale Industries for 4 years," Noah said. I've submitted 14 proposals for efficiency improvements, process optimizations, cost-saving measures. Most of them would actually work. Some would save millions. And I've watched every single one get absorbed by my supervisor, repackaged, and presented as his own work. I get a generic good job email. He gets promotions. Victoria set down her whiskey glass very carefully. Who? Doesn't matter. It matters to me. Does it? Or is that CEO instinct talking? Noah surprised himself with the edge in his voice. Look, I'm not trying to be a jerk, but we both know how this works. I'm nobody, some guy in engineering. You run the whole company, different worlds. Is that what you think? It's what I know. You're here because someone convinced you to take a night off. I'm here because my best friend wouldn't stop texting. Tomorrow morning, you'll go back to being Victoria Hale, billionaire CEO. I'll go back to being employee number whatever, trying to keep my daughter in clean clothes and food on the table. He gestured at the table, the restaurant, the space between them. This doesn't exist in real life. Victoria was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was softer. You're wrong about one thing. What's that? I'm not here because someone convinced me to take a night off. I'm here because 3 hours ago, I sat in my office and realized I couldn't remember the last time I had a conversation with someone who wasn't trying to get something from me. Couldn't remember the last time someone saw me as a person instead of a position. She met his eyes. And when my assistant suggested this, I thought, maybe, just maybe. For one night, I could be Victoria, not the CEO, not the billionaire, just a woman having dinner. Noah felt something in his chest twist. How's that working out? Well, I cried in public and told a complete stranger I'm lonely, so I'd say it's going great. Despite everything, Noah smiled. You want to know something? What? I almost didn't come. I was going to text Marcus and bail, tell him I had a work emergency or Emma was sick. Some excuse. What changed your mind? My daughter. She told me I never do anything fun. He shook his head. 6 years old and already worried about me. Victoria's expression softened. She sounds wise. She shouldn't have to be. No, she shouldn't. Victoria paused. But neither should you. The waiter returned to take their orders. Noah let Victoria order first, some pasta dish he'd never heard of, and then chose the cheapest entree he could find. When the waiter left, Victoria was watching him. You don't have to do that. Do what? Worry about the cost. This dinner is on me. I can't let you... Noah. She said his name like she was diffusing a bomb. Careful, deliberate. Please, let me do this one normal thing. Let me buy dinner for someone who isn't trying to network or pitch me or get something. Let me just buy dinner. He wanted to argue. Pride demanded it. But he also knew his checking account balance, knew what this meal would cost, knew that saying yes meant Emma could get those new pajamas she needed. Okay, he said quietly. Thank you. Thank you for staying, for being honest. She picked up her whiskey again. Tell me about your daughter. So he did. He told her about Emma's obsession with dinosaurs, about how she'd memorized every species and could pronounce names he still struggled with. He told her about the ongoing battle over vegetables, about how she negotiated bedtime like a lawyer. He told her about the time she'd saved her allowance for 3 months to buy him a Father's Day present, a mug that said, "World's Okayest Dad," because she thought it was funny. And Victoria listened, really listened, not the polite nodding of someone waiting for their turn to talk. She asked questions, laughed at the right moments. Her eyes lost some of that hollow look. She sounds incredible, Victoria said. She is. She's the only thing I've ever done right. I doubt that's true. You don't know me. No. But I know single parents don't raise incredible children by accident. The food arrived. They ate and talked, and the conversation drifted from Emma to Sarah, from loss to loneliness. Victoria told him about her father, about the pressure to prove herself after taking over the company at 25, about board members who still treated her like a child playing dress-up, about the loneliness of success. Everyone assumes having money solves everything, she said, and it solves a lot. I won't pretend it doesn't, but it doesn't solve being alone at the top. It doesn't solve wondering if anyone would care about you if you lost it all. People would care, Noah said. Would they? Or would they care about what I represent, what I can do for them? She pushed her pasta around her plate. I had a relationship end last year. We'd been together for 2 years. You want to know what he said when we broke up? He said I was emotionally unavailable, that I treated everything like a business transaction, that I didn't know how to just be with someone. Was he right? Victoria looked up sharply, then softened. Maybe. Probably. I don't know how to turn it off. The analyzing, the strategizing, even this, she gestured between them. Part of me is wondering if you're being genuine or if this is some elaborate attempt to get ahead at the company. It's not. I know, that's what scares me. Why? Because I don't know what to do with genuine anymore. Noah set down his fork. Can I tell you something? Please. 3 years ago, after Sarah died, I thought I was done. Not suicidal or anything like that, just done feeling things, done hoping. I went through the motions for Emma, got up, went to work, came home, repeated. And part of me thought that was enough, that I didn't need anything else. What changed? Nothing changed. That's the problem. I'm still just going through the motions, still just surviving. And tonight, sitting here with you is the first time in 3 years I've felt like maybe there's more than just surviving. Maybe there's actually living. He met her eyes. So if you're scared of genuine, I get it. I'm terrified. But I'm also tired of being numb. Victoria's hand trembled slightly as she reached for her water glass. This is insane. We just met. We're from completely different worlds. Tomorrow morning, everything goes back to normal, and this was just one weird night. Probably. So why does it feel important? I don't know. They finished dinner in a silence that felt less awkward than thoughtful. When the check came, Victoria didn't even look at it, just handed over a black credit card. Noah tried not to think about what the meal cost. Outside the restaurant, the April air was cool. Victoria's driver pulled up immediately, a sleek black car that probably cost more than Noah would make in 5 years. This is me, Victoria said unnecessarily. Yeah, she turned to face him. Noah, this was unexpected, in a good way, a confusing way, but good. For me, too. I don't know what happens now. Nothing has to happen. We had dinner. We were honest. That's more than most people get. Victoria smiled, but it looked sad. I want to see you again. I know that's crazy. I know all the reasons it's a terrible idea, but I do. Noah's heart hammered. I want that too. Thursday. There's a coffee shop on 5th and Main. 7:30 in the morning. Can you make that work? I'll make it work. Just coffee. Just talking. Nothing complicated. Nothing complicated, Noah agreed, knowing it was already the most complicated thing in his life. Victoria got into her car. Before the door closed, she looked back at him. Noah? Thank you. For staying. For being real. Thank you for the dinner. And for the same. The car pulled away. Noah stood on the sidewalk, watching until the taillights disappeared into traffic. Then he pulled out his phone and called Marcus. So? Marcus answered immediately. How bad was it? It was... Noah struggled to find words. Different. Different good or different bad? I honestly don't know yet. You gonna see her again? Noah thought about Thursday morning, about coffee and conversation and the dangerous hope building in his chest. Yeah, he said. Yeah, I think I am. Bum. The apartment was dark when he got home. Tessa was on the couch scrolling her phone. She looked up when he walked in. How was it? Weird. Good. Weird. She grinned. That's the best kind. Emma went down around 8. She made me promise to tell you she wants a full report in the morning. Noah paid her, thanked her, and locked the door behind her. Then he walked to Emma's room and stood in the doorway watching his daughter sleep. She'd kicked off her blankets again. He pulled them back over her, kissed her forehead. Love you, sweetheart, he whispered. In his own room, Noah lay in the dark and thought about Victoria Hale, about the tears she'd tried to hide, about the loneliness that looked so much like his own, about the way she'd listened when he talked about Emma, about the impossibility of what he was feeling. His phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. Made it home safely. Thank you again for tonight. Looking forward to Thursday. Victoria. Noah stared at the message for a long time before responding. Me too. Sleep well. He set the phone on his nightstand and closed his eyes. For the first time in 3 years, falling asleep felt less like surrender and more like anticipation. Tomorrow would bring all the same problems: the struggling finances, the stolen ideas at work, the exhaustion of single parenthood. All of it would still be there. But Thursday was coming. Coffee and conversation with a woman who understood loneliness, a woman who'd chosen to see him as Noah, not employee number whatever. It was crazy. It was impossible. It was probably going to end badly. But right now, lying in the dark with hope flickering in his chest, Noah let himself believe that maybe, just maybe, something was about to change. Thursday morning came too fast and too slow at the same time. Noah woke at 5:30, which was stupid because the coffee shop wasn't until 7:30 and Emma didn't need to be up until 6:45. But sleep had abandoned him somewhere around 3 a.m., replaced by a churning mix of anticipation and dread that made lying still impossible. He showered, shaved carefully, changed shirts 3 times. The blue one felt too formal. The gray one had a stain he hadn't noticed before. He settled on a plain black Henley that Emma had picked out last Christmas, telling him it made him look less tired. "Daddy, why are you being weird?" He turned to find his daughter standing in the doorway, hair sticking up in every direction, clutching her stuffed triceratops. "I'm not being weird. You changed your shirt like 100 times. That's weird." She climbed onto his bed, watching him with those 2 observant eyes. "Is it because of the date lady?" "Her name is Victoria." "Are you seeing her again?" Noah sat down beside her. "Just for coffee, before work." Emma grinned. "You like her." "I barely know her, sweetheart." "But you like her, I can tell. You're doing the thing where you touch your hair a lot." Noah dropped his hand from his hair immediately. "I don't do that." "You totally do. You did it when Miss Rodriguez talked to you at parent-teacher night, too." "That was different. She was telling me you—" "Wait, we're not talking about this." Emma giggled. "It's okay if you like her, Daddy. Mommy would want you to be happy." The words hit him sideways. Emma rarely mentioned Sarah directly anymore. When she did, it was usually matter of fact, the way kids processed grief, in small doses without warning. "You think so?" Noah's voice came out rough. "Uh-huh. She told me once that you were the best person she ever met, that I should always make sure you're okay." Emma leaned against him. "So I'm making sure." Noah wrapped his arm around her, blinking back the unexpected sting in his eyes. "When did you get so smart?" "I was always smart. You just forget sometimes." He got her ready for school, made breakfast, packed her lunch. The routine was muscle memory by now, but today everything felt different, sharper, like he was waking up from a long sleep. Marcus called at 7. "You're really doing this?" "It's just coffee, Marcus." "With your boss, your billionaire boss, the woman who could fire you with a phone call." "She's not going to fire me." "You don't know that. Rich people are crazy, man. Maybe this is how she gets her kicks, messing with regular people's heads." Noah locked his apartment door, Emma's hand in his. "She's not like that. You talked to her for 2 hours. You don't actually know what she's like." "Neither do you." Marcus sighed. "Look, I'm happy you're putting yourself out there. I am. I just don't want you getting hurt or fired, preferably both. I'll call you later." "You better. And Noah, don't do that thing where you get all self-deprecating and talk yourself out of good things." "I don't do that." "You absolutely do that. Just try, okay? Actually try." Noah dropped Emma at school, kissed her goodbye, watched her run toward her classroom without looking back. The confidence of 6-year-olds. The assumption that the world would catch them. He wished he still had that. The coffee shop Victoria had chosen was small, tucked between a bookstore and a dry cleaner. Not the kind of place CEOs usually frequented. Noah arrived 10 minutes early, ordered a regular coffee he couldn't really afford, and sat at a corner table trying not to watch the door. She walked in at exactly 7:30. No power suit today. Just jeans, a cream sweater, minimal makeup. Her hair was pulled back in a simple ponytail. She looked younger, more real. She spotted him and smiled, and Noah felt something in his chest do a complicated flip. "You came," she said, sliding into the seat across from him. "You sound surprised." "I thought you might reconsider. Decide this was too weird." "I did reconsider, around 4 a.m., and then again at 6. But I'm here anyway." Victoria laughed, the sound less brittle than it had been at Russo's. "I didn't sleep much either. A barista appeared at their table. Victoria ordered something complicated involving oat milk and vanilla. When the barista left, silence settled between them, but it felt different than at the restaurant. Less desperate, more uncertain. "So," Victoria said. "So, this is awkward. Little bit. I'm not good at this. The casual thing. The getting to know someone thing." She wrapped her hands around her coffee cup even though it hadn't arrived yet. "I'm usually either networking or negotiating. This is neither, and I don't know the rules." "There are no rules," Noah said. "We're just two people having coffee." "Are we, though? Because you work for me, technically, and there are about 50 HR violations happening right now. You want to leave?" "No." The word came fast. "No, I don't. But I think we should be honest about what this is." "What is it?" Victoria met his eyes. "I don't know. But I know I haven't been able to stop thinking about Monday night. About how you didn't treat me like the CEO. How you just saw me. And I want more of that. Is that selfish?" "If it is, then I'm selfish too. Because I want the same thing." Her coffee arrived. She took a sip, made a face. "Too sweet. I always forget to say light vanilla." "You want mine? It's just regular. You'd give me your coffee?" "It's coffee, Victoria, not a kidney." She smiled, and they traded cups, and the simple domesticity of it felt like crossing some invisible line. "Tell me something," Victoria said. "Something real, not work stuff, not the polite getting to know you surface things. Something that matters." Noah thought for a moment. "I'm scared I'm failing Emma. That I'm so focused on just surviving, keeping food on the table, keeping the lights on, that I'm missing the important stuff. Her childhood is happening right now, and I'm too tired to appreciate it. And one day she's going to be grown, and I'm going to realize I was there, but I wasn't there, you know?" Victoria's expression softened. "You're there. Trust me. The fact that you worry about it means you're there." "How do you know?" "Because my father was never there. He was in the same house, same room sometimes, but he was never actually present. Always thinking about the business, always planning the next move. I learned early that I had to be exceptional to get his attention, had to prove I was worth noticing." She paused. "You know what he said when I told him I wanted to take over the company? He laughed, said I was too soft, too emotional, that business required ruthlessness I didn't have. He was wrong. Was he? Some days I'm not sure. I proved I could be ruthless, built the company into something he never imagined, but I also became exactly what he said I'd need to be. Hard, isolated, successful, and alone." She traced the rim of her coffee cup. "Your daughter won't remember if you had money. She'll remember if you were present, if you loved her. And from everything you've told me, she knows you do." "I hope so." "Now you. Ask me something real." Noah didn't hesitate. "Why did you agree to that blind date?" "The real reason." Victoria was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was barely above a whisper. "Because 2 weeks ago I had a panic attack in my office. Full on couldn't breathe, thought I was dying kind of attack. My assistant found me on the floor." She looked up at him. "The doctor said it was stress, overwork. He prescribed medication and recommended therapy, but I knew what it really was. Loneliness, the kind that builds up so slowly you don't notice until it's crushing you. And I realized I could have died right there, in my office. And the first people to find me would be employees. Not friends, not family, just people on my payroll. I'm sorry. Don't be." It was a wake-up call. My assistant suggested the date, said I needed to connect with someone who didn't know me as the CEO, who wouldn't want something from me. And I thought, what's the worst that could happen? One awkward dinner, and I never have to do it again. She smiled sadly. "I didn't expect you." "What's that mean?" "I didn't expect someone who understood, who looked at me crying in public and didn't run, who stayed and was honest and made me feel like maybe I wasn't completely broken." Noah reached across the table, hesitated, then took her hand. She didn't pull away. "You're not broken," he said. "You're just tired of being what everyone needs you to be." "Aren't we all?" They sat like that for a while, hands linked across the table, drinking each other's coffee. People came and went around them. Outside, the city woke up fully, rush hour traffic, hurried pedestrians, the mechanical rhythm of normal life. "I have to tell you something," Noah said finally, "about work." Victoria's expression shifted slightly. Okay. Monday night, I mentioned my ideas getting stolen. It's been happening for 4 years. My supervisor, Richard Castellano, he's built his entire reputation on work that isn't his. Not just mine, other people too. He finds whoever's too junior or too scared to make waves, takes their ideas, repackages them, presents them to upper management. Why haven't you reported it? To who? Richard's the one who handles our division's communications with senior management, and he's good at covering his tracks. Makes small enough changes that it's hard to prove theft. Plus, he's been there 15 years. I've been there 4. Who's HR going to believe? Victoria's jaw tightened. This is my company. If someone's stealing work, that's... I'm not telling you this to get him in trouble. I'm telling you because if we're doing this, whatever this is, you need to know. I'm not just some guy from engineering. I'm the guy whose boss is probably going to notice he had dinner with the CEO and start asking questions. I'm the guy who might become a target if Richard thinks I'm trying to go over his head. Then quit. Come work somewhere else. Noah laughed without humor. Where? You think another engineering firm is going to pay better? Offer better benefits? I've looked. Hale Industries is the best option I've got. Which means I'm stuck with Richard and his theft and staying quiet because I can't afford to lose this job. That's not right. No, but it's real. He squeezed her hand. I need you to understand. I'm not looking for you to fix my problems. I'm not trying to use this, us, to get ahead. But I also can't pretend the power dynamic doesn't exist. You could make one phone call and destroy my career. I need to know you understand how unequal this is. Victoria pulled her hand back and Noah felt his stomach drop. But she didn't stand up, didn't leave. Instead, she leaned forward, elbows on the table. You're right. It is unequal. And maybe that means we shouldn't do this. Maybe that's the smart, responsible choice. She paused. But I don't want to make the smart choice. I want to be selfish. I want to keep having coffee with you and talking about real things and feeling like a person instead of a position. Is that wrong? Probably. Do you want to stop? No. Then we figure it out together. She glanced at her watch and winced. I have to go. Board meeting in 40 minutes. Back to being the CEO. Something like that. She stood, gathered her things. Same time tomorrow? I'll be here. Victoria started to leave, then turned back. Noah? What you said about your ideas being stolen. Document everything. Emails, timestamps, original drafts. Keep copies somewhere safe, not on the company server. Why? Because if you ever decide you want to do something about it, you'll need proof. And because I believe you, I just can't act on belief alone. She left before he could respond. Noah sat there for another 10 minutes, drinking her too-sweet coffee, trying to process what had just happened. His phone buzzed. Marcus. Well? It was good. That's it? Just good? Marcus, I'm sitting in a coffee shop at 8 in the morning trying to figure out if I'm making the best decision of my life or the worst mistake. Can I call you later? That good, huh? Shut up. He hung up and headed to work, mind spinning. The morning passed in a blur of CAD drawings and material specifications. Around 11, Richard stopped by his desk. Carter, my office, now. Noah's stomach tightened. Richard's office was small, cramped, filled with plaques and awards for projects other people had actually engineered. Richard himself was 50-something, balding, with the kind of smile that never reached his eyes. Close the door, Richard said. Noah did. I heard an interesting rumor this morning. Richard leaned back in his chair. Someone said they saw you having coffee with Victoria Hale, our CEO, Victoria Hale. Can you imagine? I can imagine. Richard's smile froze. So it's true. I had coffee with someone, didn't realize I needed permission. Don't be smart. You know exactly what I'm asking. How do you know Victoria Hale? Noah met his eyes. We met through a mutual friend, had dinner, had coffee. That's it. That's it? Richard laughed, but it sounded nervous. You expect me to believe the CEO of this company is having casual coffee dates with a junior engineer? Believe whatever you want. This is inappropriate, potentially a conflict of interest. I should report this to HR. Go ahead, Noah said, surprising himself with how calm he sounded. Report that 2 single adults had coffee. See what HR says. Richard's expression darkened. You think you're clever? Think you found a shortcut to the top? Let me tell you something, Carter. People like you don't end up with people like her. You're a single dad barely keeping his head above water. She's a billionaire who could buy and sell you 1,000 times over. Whatever game you think you're playing, it's going to end badly. Are we done? No? You've got 3 project proposals on your queue. I want them completed by end of day Friday. That's 40 hours of work. It's Thursday. Then I suggest you skip lunch. And Carter? Stay away from Victoria Hale. For your own good. Noah walked back to his desk feeling shaky. The threat was clear. Richard was scared, which meant he was dangerous. But underneath the fear was something else. Anger. 4 years of watching his work get stolen. 4 years of staying quiet. 4 years of being treated like he was disposable. He opened his laptop and started a new folder, labeled it Personal Projects. Then he began systematically copying every email, every original draft, every timestamp that proved his ideas had been his own. It took 3 hours. By the time he finished, he had a file that would bury Richard Castellano if anyone ever actually looked at it. He uploaded everything to a personal cloud account, then deleted the local copies, covered his tracks. His phone buzzed. Victoria. How was your day? Noah glanced around the engineering floor, at Richard's office with its closed door, at the co-workers who never quite looked him in the eye. Complicated. Yours? Long. Board meetings or torture. 3 hours of old men explaining my own company to me. Sounds fun. Coffee tomorrow? Same time? Noah thought about Richard's warning, about the smart, safe choice, about all the reasons this was a terrible idea. Yeah, same time. Good. I'm making actual dinner plans for tomorrow night, too. Nothing fancy. Just food. If you can get a sitter. Noah's heart jumped. I can figure it out. Good. I'll text you details. He spent the rest of the afternoon working through Richard's impossible deadline. Around 5, Emma's school called. She was sick. Fever and upset stomach. Could he pick her up? Noah grabbed his jacket and ran. Emma was in the nurse's office, looking small and miserable. He scooped her up, signed her out, carried her to the car. I don't feel good, Daddy. I know, sweetheart. We'll get you home. She fell asleep in the car, head against the window. Noah carried her upstairs, tucked her into bed, took her temperature. 101. Not terrible, but not good. He gave her medicine, got her water, sat on the edge of her bed. I'm sorry, Emma mumbled. For what? For being sick. I know you have work. Hey, he smoothed her hair back. You are more important than work. Always, okay? She nodded, already drifting. Noah sat there until her breathing evened out, then went to his own room and called Marcus. I need a favor. Name it. Can your sister babysit tomorrow night? Emma's sick, but I think it's just a 24-hour thing. She should be better by tomorrow. Hot date with the billionaire? It's not, yes, dinner. Marcus whistled. You're really doing this. I'm really doing this. Okay, I'll text Tessa. But Noah? Be careful. I know you like this woman, but she's still your boss. That doesn't just go away. I know. He hung up and checked on Emma again, still sleeping. Her fever had already come down slightly. The medicine was working. His phone buzzed. Victoria. Is everything okay? You left work early. Emma's sick. Nothing serious. Just a bug. Do you need anything? I could send... No, we're fine. Thank you, though. A pause. Can I ask you something? Always. Does this feel crazy to you, this whole thing? Noah looked at Emma sleeping, thought about the coffee that morning, about Richard's threats, about the impossible situation he was walking into. Yeah, he said, it feels completely crazy. Good. I thought it was just me. You having second thoughts? Constantly, but I keep having them and then I keep texting you anyway. What does that say about me? That you're human? Victoria laughed softly. I forget that sometimes. Being human, it's easier to be the CEO. The CEO doesn't get nervous about dinner dates. The CEO doesn't worry about saying the wrong thing. The CEO just makes decisions and moves forward. But you're not having dinner with the CEO tomorrow. You're having dinner with me. No, you're having dinner with me. There's a difference. What kind of difference? The kind where I'm the one who's terrified of screwing this up. Noah smiled. Join the club. We have t-shirts. Do you really want to do this? Knowing how complicated it is, knowing all the ways it could go wrong? He thought about Sarah, about 3 years of going through the motions, about how it felt to sit across from Victoria and actually feel something again. Yeah, he said, I really do. Okay then, tomorrow, 6:30. I'll send you the address. It's a date. After they hung up, Noah sat in the quiet apartment listening to Emma breathe in the next room. His phone glowed with Victoria's contact information, her last text, the promise of tomorrow. It was crazy. It was reckless. It was probably going to explode in his face. But for the first time in 3 years, he felt alive. Emma stirred, called out for him. Noah went to her, checked her fever again, got her more water. She fell back asleep holding his hand, and he stayed there on the floor beside her bed, back against the wall, thinking about everything and nothing. His phone buzzed one more time. Victoria. Thank you for being honest, for trying, for making me feel like maybe I haven't completely forgotten how to be a person. Noah typed back with his free hand, careful not to wake Emma. Thank you for the same. Sleep well. You too. Kiss Emma goodnight for me. He looked down at his daughter, her small hand wrapped around his, and felt something in his chest crack open. Not breaking. Opening. Like a door he'd kept locked was finally willing to budge. Tomorrow would bring more complications, more risks, more reasons to be smart and careful and safe. But tonight, sitting on his daughter's bedroom floor with a fever-sick kid and a phone full of messages from a woman who shouldn't make sense but somehow did, Noah let himself hope. And that felt like enough. Emma's fever broke by morning, leaving her cranky and demanding cartoons. Noah called in sick to work, the first time in 2 years, and spent Friday alternating between checking her temperature and obsessively looking at his phone. Victoria had sent the restaurant address at midnight, somewhere called Ember. He'd looked it up. Another place he couldn't afford, but at least this time he knew what he was walking into. Tessa confirmed she could babysit. Marcus called 3 times with unsolicited advice. Emma, sensing something was happening, interrogated him between episodes of her dinosaur show. Is this another date with Victoria? Yeah, sweetheart. Are you going to marry her? Noah choked on his coffee. What? No. Emma, we barely know each other. But you like her a lot, I can tell. It's complicated. That's what grown-ups say when they don't want to explain things. She wasn't wrong. Noah sat beside her on the couch, pulling her against his side. Okay, here's the truth. I do like Victoria, but she's very different from us. She has a lot of money and a very important job, and I don't know if this is going to work out. Why wouldn't it? Because sometimes people from different worlds don't fit together. Emma looked up at him with those serious eyes. Mommy used to say people aren't puzzles. They don't have to fit perfect. They just have to want to be together. Noah's throat tightened. She said that? Uh-huh. When I asked why you and her got married, even though she liked country music and you thought it was annoying. He laughed despite himself. I never said it was annoying. You made faces every time she played it in the car. Fair point. He kissed the top of her head. You're pretty smart. You know that? I know. Can I have ice cream for lunch since I was sick? Nice try. How about soup? She groaned but didn't argue. By afternoon, she was back to her normal self, making Tessa play dinosaurs, explaining in elaborate detail why the Tyrannosaurus Rex would definitely beat a velociraptor in a fight, ignoring Noah's attempts to get her to rest. At 5:30, he started getting ready. The anxiety he'd managed to keep at bay all day came rushing back. He showered, shaved, changed shirts twice before settling on a dark gray button-down Emma approved of. His hands shook slightly as he tied his shoes. Daddy, you look nice, Emma said from his bedroom doorway. Thanks, kiddo. Are you scared? He looked at her. Little bit. It's okay to be scared. That means it matters. Noah had no idea where she got this stuff. When did you become a philosopher? I don't know what that means. It means you're wise beyond your years. She grinned. I know. Tessa arrived at 6. Noah went through the bedtime routine even though it was hours away, double-checked that his phone was charged, kissed Emma goodbye approximately 17 times. Go, Tessa said, laughing. We'll be fine. Call if anything. I know. Go. Have fun. Be a person. The restaurant was across town, A 30-minute drive that felt like 3 hours. Noah's mind raced the entire way. What if this was a mistake? What if Richard found out? What if Victoria realized he was just a broke single dad with nothing to offer? What if she didn't? Ember was smaller than Russo's. Warmer. Low lighting, exposed brick, the smell of wood smoke and garlic. Victoria was already there, sitting at a corner table, looking at her phone. She wore a simple black dress, her hair down around her shoulders. When she looked up and saw him, her smile was genuine. "You made it." "Did you think I wouldn't?" "Honestly, little bit." She gestured to the chair across from her. "How's Emma?" "Better. Fever's gone. She's back to being a tiny tornado of opinions." Victoria laughed. "She sounds amazing." "She is. She also asked if I was going to marry you." The words were out before Noah could stop them. Victoria's eyes went wide. "That's direct." "Sorry, I didn't mean, I'm not suggesting." "Noah, breathe." Victoria's smile was amused. "What did you tell her?" "That we barely know each other and it's complicated." "What did she say?" "That people aren't puzzles and they don't have to fit perfect." He shook his head. "She's 6. She shouldn't be this insightful. Maybe she's onto something." Victoria's expression shifted, became more serious. "I spent all day in meetings thinking about this, about us, about all the reasons it's a bad idea." Noah's stomach dropped. And I don't care. I should. I'm supposed to be smart and calculated and risk-averse. But when it comes to you, I just don't care about the reasons it won't work. I care about the fact that it might." A waiter appeared, breaking the moment. They ordered, Noah letting Victoria guide him through the menu this time, accepting her recommendations, trying not to think about the cost. When the waiter left, Victoria reached across the table and took his hand. "I need to tell you something," she said. "About work." "Okay." "I did some digging. Into Richard Castellano. Into your division. You were right. He's been stealing ideas for years, not just from you, at least 6 other engineers, all junior level, all people who didn't think they had any recourse." Noah's heart hammered. "How did you—" "I have access to everything. Every email, every proposal submission, every internal communication. I spent last night reading through 4 years of your work. Your actual work, with timestamps. And then I compared it to Richard's presentations to senior management." Her jaw tightened. "He's been systemically stealing from his own team and taking credit. It's not just unethical, it's theft, corporate fraud. What are you going to do?" "That depends on you." "On me?" Victoria squeezed his hand. "If I fire Richard right now, it looks like I'm doing it because of you. Because we're whatever we are. It compromises both of us. Makes you look like you went crying to the CEO. Makes me look like I'm playing favorites. HR would have a field day." "So you're not going to do anything?" "I didn't say that. I'm saying I need to do it right. Build a proper case. Get HR involved. Make it about the pattern of behavior, not about one engineer's complaint. But Noah, that takes time. Weeks, maybe months. And in the meantime, Richard's still your supervisor, still in a position to make your life difficult." "He already threatened me, told me to stay away from you." Victoria's expression darkened. "He what?" "Yesterday. Called me into his office, basically said I was out of my league and this, us, was going to end badly." "That's harassment." "It's reality. He's not wrong. I'm out of my league." "Stop." Victoria's voice was sharp. "Don't do that. Don't diminish yourself because someone else is intimidated by you. I'm a junior engineer barely making $40,000 a year. You run a billion-dollar company. There's no universe where I'm not out of my league. You're also a single father raising an incredible kid. You're talented enough that people steal your ideas because they know they're good. You're honest and kind, and you see me as a person instead of a bank account. That's not out of your league. That's exactly your league." Noah looked down at their joined hands. "I don't know how to do this. How to be with someone like you." "Someone like me? Someone successful. Someone important. Someone who belongs in places like this." He gestured at the restaurant. "I'm used to mac and cheese from a box and budgeting grocery trips. This," he meant the restaurant, the wine menu, the life she lived, "this isn't my world." "Then maybe we build a new world, one that's ours." Victoria's voice was soft. "I'm tired of my world. The galas and the board meetings and the people who only see my net worth. I want something real. I want someone who argues with me and calls me out and doesn't treat me like I'm made of glass and money. I don't want your money. I know. That's why I'm here. Their food arrived. They ate and talked, and the conversation flowed easier than it had any right to. Victoria told him about her father, about the pressure of inheriting a company at 25, about proving herself to men who thought she was too young, too female, too soft. Noah told her about Sarah, about the car accident, about the first year after, when he'd barely functioned, when Marcus had basically moved in to make sure Emma was fed and Noah didn't completely fall apart. I don't talk about her much anymore, Noah said. It feels disloyal somehow, like I'm forgetting her. You're not forgetting her. You're living. There's a difference. Does it feel like betrayal to you, this? Victoria set down her fork. Honestly, always. A little. Sometimes. My ex, the one who said I was emotionally unavailable, part of me wonders if he was right, if I'm too damaged to actually do this, if I'm going to hurt you because I don't know how to be vulnerable. You're being vulnerable right now. This is terrifying. Good. Me too. They shared a smile, fragile and honest. When the check came, Victoria handled it without ceremony. Outside, the April night had turned cool. They stood on the sidewalk, neither quite ready to leave. I don't want to go home yet, Victoria said. What do you want to do? Something normal. Something that isn't a fancy restaurant or a business meeting or any of the usual stuff. What would you do on a normal Friday night? Noah laughed. I'd be on my couch, probably asleep by 9:30, with Emma using me as a pillow. What would you do if you didn't have to be responsible? He thought about it. There's a park near my place. Nothing special, but it has this view of the city. I used to take Emma there when she couldn't sleep. Just walk around, look at the lights. Show me. It's not fancy. Good. They drove separately, Victoria following Noah's beat-up sedan in her sleek black car. The park was nearly empty this late, just a few joggers and a couple walking their dog. Noah led Victoria to a bench overlooking the city skyline, all lit windows and distant traffic. This is it, he said. Not much. Victoria sat down, looking out at the view. It's perfect. They sat in silence for a while, a comfortable silence, the kind that didn't need filling. Finally, Victoria spoke. I need to tell you something about what happens next, with Richard. Okay? I'm going to handle it, build the case, involve HR, do it by the book. But Noah, you need to be prepared. When this comes out, people are going to know you were involved. They're going to assume you went to me. They're going to talk. Let them. It could affect your career, make it harder to work there. I'm already the guy whose ideas get stolen. How much worse can it get? Victoria turned to face him. I'm serious. This could blow back on you, on us. Are you ready for that? Noah thought about Emma asking if he was going to marry Victoria, about Richard's threats, about 4 years of staying quiet, of playing it safe, of letting fear make his decisions. Yeah, he said. I'm ready. There's something else. Victoria's voice was careful. I need you to send me everything. All the documentation you have, every original draft, every email, every piece of evidence, not through company servers, personal email, tonight. You really think... I think Richard's been doing this for years and getting away with it. I think he's connected and protected, and he's not going to go down easy. I think if we're doing this, we do it right. Airtight. No room for him to wiggle out. Noah pulled out his phone, opened his personal email, forwarded the entire folder he'd compiled. Done. Victoria checked her phone, scrolled through the files. Her expression hardened. This is worse than I thought. Noah, some of these ideas saved the company millions, and Richard took credit for all of it. I know. You should be furious. I am. I just got used to swallowing it. Don't. Not anymore. She put her phone away, looked at him directly. Monday morning, I'm calling an emergency audit of the engineering division. Internal review, HR investigation, the works. Richard's going to know something's happening. He's going to suspect you. It's going to get ugly. I can handle ugly. Can you? Because I need you to understand what you're signing up for. Richard has allies, people who benefit from his management style, who've looked the other way. They're going to close ranks. You're going to be painted as a troublemaker. A guy who couldn't hack it, so you went crying to the CEO you're sleeping with. The words hit hard. Is that what people will think? Some of them, yeah. Noah looked out at the city lights, at all those windows hiding all those lives. What do you think? I think you're the bravest person I've met in years. I think you're standing up for yourself and for everyone else Richard's stolen from. I think you're doing the right thing even though it's going to cost you. She paused. And I think I'm falling for you, which is possibly the stupidest thing I could do right now, but there it is. Noah's breath caught. You're falling for me, terrifyingly so. Victoria, He stopped, tried to find the right words. I haven't felt this way since Sarah. I didn't think I could. And you're right, the timing is awful and the circumstances are a disaster, and there are about 50 reasons this won't work. But I'm falling too, and it scares the hell out of me. Victoria moved closer and Noah stopped thinking entirely. She kissed him, soft and uncertain, and he kissed her back, feeling like he was standing on the edge of something vast and dangerous and worth it. When they pulled apart, Victoria was smiling. That was, yeah. We should probably talk about, yeah. They sat there, foreheads touching, breathing the same air. Noah's phone buzzed. Tessa. Emma's asleep. All good here. Stay out as long as you want. I should get back anyway, Noah said. Early morning tomorrow. Emma has soccer. Soccer? Every Saturday. She's terrible at it, but she loves it. Victoria pulled back slightly. Can I come? To soccer? Is that weird? I want to meet her, properly, not just hear about her. Noah's heart did something complicated. You want to meet my 6-year-old daughter at her soccer game? If that's okay, if it's not too fast or too much. It's terrifying, but yeah, you can come. They made plans for the morning, 9 a.m., the rec fields on the west side. Victoria kissed him again before getting in her car, and Noah drove home feeling like reality had shifted sideways. Tessa was on the couch when he got back. She took one look at his face and grinned. That good? Tessa, I think I'm in serious trouble. The good kind? I have no idea. After she left, Noah checked on Emma, fast asleep, her triceratops clutched under one arm. He stood in her doorway for a long time, thinking about tomorrow, about Victoria meeting his daughter, about all the ways this could go wrong. His phone buzzed. Victoria. Thank you for tonight, for the park, for being honest, for making me believe this might actually work. Noah typed back. Thank you for the same. See you tomorrow. Fair warning, 6-year-old soccer is chaos. I can handle chaos. Sleep well, Noah. You too. He got ready for bed, but sleep felt impossible. His mind raced with everything Victoria had said. The investigation. Richard's inevitable retaliation. The fact that she was falling for him. That she'd said it out loud. That he'd said it back. Around 2 a.m., his phone rang. Victoria. Sorry, she said when he answered. I know it's late. I couldn't sleep. Me neither. I keep thinking about Monday. About what happens when this all starts. Having second thoughts? No, just scared. For you. For what this might do to you. Noah sat up in bed. Victoria, listen to me. I've spent 4 years being scared. Scared of losing my job. Scared of rocking the boat. Scared of not being enough for Emma. I'm done being scared. Whatever happens Monday, we deal with it. Together? Together. He could hear her breathing on the other end of the line. Noah, what we talked about tonight. About falling for each other. I meant it, but I need you to know I'm not good at this. At relationships, at letting people in. I'm going to mess up. I'm going to pull away when things get hard because that's what I do. Then I'll pull you back. What if you can't? What if I can? Victoria laughed softly. You're very stubborn. Pot, meet kettle. Fair point. A pause. I'm really coming to soccer tomorrow? If you want to. I want to. I'm just nervous. What if Emma doesn't like me? Emma likes everyone. But Victoria, you don't have to impress her. Just be yourself. What if myself isn't very good with kids? Then you'll figure it out, together. That's kind of the theme here. I'm really glad I didn't bail on that blind date. Me too. They talked for another hour, about nothing and everything, about Emma's dinosaur obsession, and Victoria's terrible college roommate and the completely mundane details of their lives. When they finally hung up, the sun was starting to rise. Noah got maybe an hour of sleep before Emma bounded into his room, already in her soccer uniform, demanding breakfast. "Big day, Daddy! We're playing the Tigers and they're really good, but Coach says we can win if we try hard." Noah made pancakes, managed to get syrup only on the table and not the floor, helped Emma find her cleats. At 8:30, his phone rang. "Marcus, please tell me you didn't do something stupid last night." Define stupid. "Noah, I invited her to Emma's soccer game." Silence. Then, "You what?" "She wanted to meet Emma." I said yes. "You introduced your daughter to a woman you've known for a week." "Not yet. That's happening in 30 minutes. "Are you insane? What if this doesn't work out? What if Emma gets attached and then—" "Marcus, I know the risks, but I can't live my life in what-ifs anymore. I like her. She likes me. Emma's going to meet her eventually if this is real. Might as well be now." Marcus sighed. "You're completely gone for this woman, aren't you?" "Completely." "Then I hope she's worth it, for both your sakes." At the soccer fields, Emma ran off to join her team. Noah stood on the sidelines with the other parents, checking his phone every 30 seconds. At 9 exactly, Victoria's car pulled into the parking lot. She got out looking nervous, dressed in jeans and a light sweater. Not CEO Victoria, just Victoria. She spotted Noah and walked over. "Hi." "Hi. I brought coffee. I didn't know if you'd had any yet." She handed him a cup. "Also, I'm terrified." "Don't be. She's going to love you." "What if she doesn't?" Before Noah could answer, Emma spotted him and came running over. "Daddy, Coach says I get to play forward." "That's great, sweetheart." Emma noticed Victoria and stopped. "Hi, are you Daddy's friend?" Victoria crouched down to Emma's level. "Hi, Emma. I'm Victoria. And yes, I'm your dad's friend." "Are you the date lady?" "I am." Emma studied her seriously. "Do you like dinosaurs?" Victoria didn't hesitate. "I think they're fascinating. Do you have a favorite?" "Triceratops. They have 3 horns and they're herbivores, which means they only eat plants and they could fight T-Rexes even though T-Rexes were bigger." "That sounds pretty tough." They were. Way tougher than people think. Emma looked at Noah. "She's nice." "I told you. I gotta go. Game's starting. You're gonna watch, right, Victoria?" "I wouldn't miss it." Emma ran back to her team. Victoria stood up, looking shaken. "That was the most terrifying conversation of my life." Noah laughed. "You just passed the Emma test. Congratulations." They stood together and watched the game. Emma was, as promised, terrible at soccer. She spent half the time examining grass and the other half running in the wrong direction. But she was happy, and that was all that mattered. Victoria cheered louder than anyone when Emma accidentally kicked the ball near the goal. She didn't check her phone once. She asked questions about the rules and laughed when Noah explained that at this age, there were basically no rules, just organized chaos. After the game, Emma ran over, sweaty and grinning. "Did you see? I almost scored." "You were amazing," Victoria said, and she sounded like she meant it. "Want to get ice cream? Daddy always gets me ice cream after games." Victoria looked at Noah. He shrugged. "It's tradition." "Then ice cream it is." They went to a place nearby, nothing fancy, just a local spot with too many flavors and sticky tables. Emma got chocolate with rainbow sprinkles and proceeded to get it everywhere. Victoria got vanilla and listened while Emma explained the complex social dynamics of first grade. And then Sophia said that unicorns are better than dinosaurs, which is just wrong because dinosaurs were real and unicorns are made up. But I didn't want to make her sad, so I said maybe both are good. Was that the right thing? "I think that was very kind," Victoria said. "Sometimes being right isn't as important as being nice." Emma nodded sagely. "That's what Daddy says too." Noah watched them together, his daughter chattering away, Victoria listening like it was the most important conversation in the world, and felt something in his chest expand. This was real. This was happening. This impossible, complicated, terrifying thing was actually happening. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. He ignored it. It buzzed again, then again. "I should check this," he told Victoria. The messages were all the same. Screenshots, photos. Him and Victoria at the park last night. Him and Victoria kissing. Time-stamped, taken from a distance, but unmistakably them. The final message was from Richard. Interesting evening. We should talk. Monday, first thing. Noah's blood went cold. What is it? Victoria asked. He showed her the phone. Her expression hardened. He had someone follow us. Looks like it. That's surveillance. That's completely inappropriate. That's Richard protecting himself. He knows something's coming. Emma was oblivious, focused on her ice cream. Victoria looked at Noah, and he saw the same fear he felt reflected in her eyes. This changes things, she said quietly. Does it change how you feel? No, but it changes the timeline. I was going to wait until Monday to start the formal investigation. Now I can't. He's going to weaponize this, use our relationship to discredit everything. So what do we do? Victoria's jaw set. We beat him to it. I'm calling an emergency board meeting. Tonight. I'm bringing everything, your documentation, the pattern of theft, all of it. I'm making this official before Richard can spin it. Tonight? It has to be tonight, before he has time to prepare, before he can build his defense. She looked at Emma, then back at Noah. This is going to get messy, really messy. Are you sure you're ready? Noah thought about 4 years of silence, about Emma asking if he was scared and saying it meant it mattered, about Victoria crouching down to talk to his daughter about dinosaurs. I'm sure. Victoria pulled out her phone and stepped away, making calls. Noah watched her pace, watched her transform from the woman eating ice cream with his daughter into the CEO who ran a billion-dollar company. Emma tugged on his sleeve. Is Victoria leaving? No, sweetheart. She's just working. Is everything okay? He looked at his daughter, too perceptive, too aware. Everything's going to be okay. I promise. It was a promise he wasn't sure he could keep, but he made it anyway. Victoria came back, her expression grim. Board meeting is set for 8 tonight. I have to go prepare. Noah, I need you to send me everything again. Everything Richard sent you, every interaction you've had with him, every piece of evidence, all of it. Done. And I need you to be ready. Monday morning, this goes public. Richard will retaliate. He'll try to destroy your credibility. You need to be prepared for that. I am. She looked at Emma. I'm sorry. I wanted today to be just about getting to know you, about ice cream and soccer and normal things. It's okay, Noah said. This is who you are, who we are. Emma needs to see that too. Victoria knelt down in front of Emma. I have to go to work now, but I had a really great time watching you play soccer. Will I see you again? If that's okay with you. Emma nodded. I like you. You're nice, and you didn't lie about liking dinosaurs. I can tell when grown-ups are lying. Victoria smiled. I would never lie about dinosaurs. They watched her drive away. Emma took Noah's hand. Daddy, is something bad happening? Something hard is happening, but we're going to be okay. Because Victoria's helping? Because we're all helping each other. Emma squeezed his hand. I like her. She makes you smile different. Different how? Like you mean it. Noah looked down at his daughter, at this tiny human who saw everything and felt his heart crack open all over again. Yeah, he said. I guess she does. They went home. Emma wanted to play, but Noah was distracted, checking his phone every few minutes. More messages from Richard, veiled threats, implications, the screws tightening. At 7, Victoria called. How are you holding up? Ask me after Monday. The board meeting is in an hour. I'm going in with everything. Your evidence, the pattern of behavior, Richard's surveillance of us, all of it. You think they'll act? I think they don't have a choice. What Richard did, the theft, the surveillance, it's indefensible. But Noah, some of the board members are his allies. This is going to be a fight. Then fight. I'm scared. Of what? Of failing you. Of this blowing up in our faces. Of losing everything we're building before it even has a chance to start. Noah closed his eyes. Victoria, whatever happens, we're in this together. You said it yourself. Together. Together, she repeated, like a promise. Go fight. I'll be here when you're done. After they hung up, Noah put Emma to bed early. She protested, but was asleep within minutes, exhausted from soccer and ice cream. He sat in his living room in the dark, phone in hand, waiting. At 10:30, Victoria called. It's done. Her voice was shaking. Noah sat up straight. What happened? Emergency audit starts Monday morning. Full investigation into Richard Castellano and the engineering division. HR is involved. External auditors are being brought in. Richard's been placed on immediate administrative leave pending the investigation. That's good, right? It's war. 3 board members tried to shut it down, said I was overreacting, that this was personal vendetta. I had to threaten to resign to force the vote. Noah's stomach dropped. You threatened to resign? I wasn't bluffing. Noah, I'm not letting him get away with this. With what he did to you, to the others, to this company. I won't. What did the board say? They voted in favor. Barely. 7-5. But it passed. Richard's done. He just doesn't know it yet. Victoria, you just made enemies. Powerful enemies. I know, but I also did the right thing. And I have you. That's worth more than their approval. Noah wanted to believe that. Wanted to believe they could survive what was coming. But he'd seen how power worked. How people like Richard always had one more card to play. What happens now? He asked. Now we wait. The investigation will take weeks. Richard will fight back. Things are going to get worse before they get better. But Noah, we're going to win. We have to. Together. Together. They stayed on the phone until Victoria fell asleep, her breathing evening out. Noah listened to her breathe, thought about everything that had happened in the past week, about how completely his life had changed. He hung up carefully and went to check on Emma one more time. She was sprawled across her bed, blankets kicked off again, completely at peace. Noah pulled the blankets back over her and stood there in the dark, thinking about Monday, about what came next, about the battle ahead. He was ready. For all of it. For the first time in years, he was ready to fight. Monday morning arrived like a storm Noah had been watching approach for days. He dropped Emma at school, kissed her goodbye, and drove to Hale Industries with his stomach in knots. The parking lot felt different, hostile, like everyone already knew what was about to happen. Inside, the engineering floor was buzzing. People clustered in small groups, voices low, glancing toward Richard's office. The door was closed, the lights off. Word had spread fast. Noah's coworker, a guy named David, stopped by his desk before he'd even turned on his computer. Is it true? Richard's been suspended? I don't know what you're talking about. Come on, man. Everyone's saying there's an investigation, that someone went to the CEO, that Richard's being audited. Noah kept his expression neutral. If there's an investigation, I'm sure we'll hear about it officially. David leaned closer. They're saying it was you, that you're the one who reported him. People say a lot of things. Are you sleeping with Victoria Hale? The question hit like a slap. Noah looked up sharply. That's none of your business. So it's true. David's eyes were wide. Holy shit, Noah. You're either the bravest guy I know or the dumbest. Get back to work, David. But David wasn't the only one. All morning, people found excuses to walk past Noah's desk. Some were curious. Some were hostile. Some just stared. The whispers followed him to the break room, to the bathroom, back to his desk. At 10 a.m., an email went out to the entire engineering division. Mandatory all-hands meeting at 2 p.m. in the main conference room. Subject: organizational review. Everyone knew what that meant. Noah's phone buzzed. Victoria. How bad is it? People know, or think they know. It's ugly. I'm sorry. HR is taking point on the meeting. I won't be there. It'll look better that way. Okay. Noah, whatever they say, whatever they imply, remember why we're doing this. Remember you're not alone. I know. I'm okay. He wasn't okay. By lunch, 3 people had stopped talking to him entirely. 2 others made pointed comments about playing politics and sleeping your way to the top. Noah ate at his desk, avoiding the break room, trying to focus on work he couldn't concentrate on. At 1:30, his desk phone rang. Internal extension. HR. Mr. Carter, this is Jennifer Walsh from Human Resources. I need you to come to my office before the 2 o'clock meeting. Noah's heart hammered. Am I in trouble? No. We just need to discuss your role in the investigation. It's standard procedure. The HR office was on the 10th floor, all glass walls and neutral colors. Jennifer Walsh was mid-40s, professional, unreadable. She gestured for Noah to sit. Mr. Carter, I want to be clear. You're not being accused of anything. However, your name has come up repeatedly in connection with the investigation into Richard Castellano. I need to ask you some questions. Okay. Did you file a formal complaint against Mr. Castellano? No. Did you provide evidence of misconduct directly to Ms. Hale? Noah chose his words carefully. I had a conversation with Victoria, Ms. Hale, in which I mentioned concerns about my work being misattributed. She asked me to document those concerns. I complied. And your relationship with Ms. Hale, can you characterize it for me? We're seeing each other, personally. Jennifer made a note. How long has this relationship been ongoing? About a week. Her eyebrows rose slightly. 1 week? Yes. And in that week, you mentioned workplace concerns. She initiated a company-wide investigation, and Mr. Castellano was placed on administrative leave. That's an oversimplification, but yes. Mr. Carter, I'm going to be direct with you. This looks bad, for both of you. It looks like you used a personal relationship to settle a professional grievance. It looks like Ms. Hale abused her position to help someone she's involved with. That's not what happened. Then what did happen? Noah took a breath. I've been watching my work get stolen for 4 years. I stayed quiet because I needed this job and I didn't think anyone would believe me. I met Victoria by accident. We connected. When she asked about my work, I was honest. She investigated independently. What she found was bigger than just me. Richard's been stealing from multiple people. This isn't about our relationship. It's about systematic fraud. Jennifer studied him. The optics are still problematic. I understand that, but the evidence doesn't lie. No, it doesn't. She closed her folder. The investigation will take approximately 4 weeks. During that time, you'll continue in your current role. However, I need you to understand that you'll be under scrutiny. Every project, every interaction, every decision will be examined. If there's any indication that you're receiving preferential treatment, it will compromise the entire investigation. I understand. One more thing. Your relationship with Ms. Hale. For the duration of this investigation, I strongly recommend you keep it private. No public displays, no company functions together. Nothing that could be construed as favoritism. Noah felt something cold settle in his chest. You're asking me to hide. I'm asking you to be smart, for both your sakes. The all-hands meeting was exactly as awful as Noah expected. The engineering director, a man named Patterson, stood at the front of the conference room and delivered corporate speak about organizational integrity and commitment to fairness. He announced the investigation without naming Richard specifically, but everyone knew. The room was tense, divided. Some people looked relieved. Others looked angry. When Patterson opened the floor for questions, someone in the back, one of Richard's golf buddies, spoke up. Is this investigation politically motivated? Patterson's expression didn't change. I'm not sure what you mean. There are rumors that this was triggered by a personal relationship, that someone went to the CEO and used their influence to target a specific manager. The investigation is based on documented evidence of policy violations, nothing more. So you're saying the rumors aren't true? That Carter isn't sleeping with Victoria Hale? The room went silent. Every eye turned to Noah. He felt his face flush but kept his expression neutral. Patterson's voice was sharp. This meeting is about organizational review, not rumors about employees' personal lives. Anyone else have relevant questions? Nobody did. The meeting ended 10 minutes later. Noah walked out feeling like he'd been stripped naked in front of everyone. People stared. Some looked sympathetic. Most looked like they'd already made up their minds. His phone buzzed the moment he got back to his desk. Marcus. Please tell me you didn't just get publicly outed in front of the entire department. How did you hear about that? David texted me, said someone called you out in the meeting. Noah, this is bad. I know. Are you okay? No, but I will be. He got through the rest of the day on autopilot. By 5:30, the office had mostly cleared. Noah was packing up when his desk phone rang again. Unknown internal extension. Carter, you think you're so smart. Richard's voice was cold, controlled. Think you can destroy me and walk away clean. Richard, you shouldn't be calling me. You're right. I shouldn't. But I wanted you to know something. You just made the biggest mistake of your life. I've been at this company 15 years. I have friends, allies, people who owe me favors, and they're going to make sure you regret this. The evidence speaks for itself. Evidence can be recontextualized, re-examined. I've already got 3 engineers ready to testify that you're a malcontent who couldn't handle feedback, that you've been bitter for years about not getting promoted, that this is revenge, pure and simple. That's a lie. Doesn't matter. By the time I'm done, your credibility will be destroyed. And your billionaire girlfriend, she'll realize you're not worth the trouble. Nobody crosses me without consequences, Carter. Nobody. The line went dead. Noah sat there, hands shaking, rage and fear warring in his chest. He grabbed his jacket and left, needing to get out before he did something stupid. Victoria called as he was driving home. I heard what happened in the meeting. Noah, I'm so sorry. It's fine. It's not fine. Someone publicly questioned your integrity. That's not fine. Richard called me. Just now. Threatened me. Victoria's voice went hard. What did he say? Noah relayed the conversation. When he finished, Victoria was quiet for a long moment. He's desperate. Desperate people make mistakes. He said he has people ready to testify against me, to say I'm just bitter about not getting promoted. Let him. We have documentation, timestamps, email trails. His people can say whatever they want. The evidence proves you're telling the truth. You sound confident. I am confident. Noah, I've spent the last 48 hours going through everything. Richard's case is falling apart. He knows it. That's why he's threatening you. It's all he has left. Noah pulled into his apartment parking lot, turned off the engine. Jennifer Walsh told me we should keep our relationship private during the investigation. She told me the same thing. What do you think? Victoria sighed. I think she's probably right. I think anything we do publicly right now will be used against us. But I also think I don't want to hide. Me neither. But maybe we don't have a choice. There's always a choice. The question is what we're willing to risk. Noah thought about the stares at work, about David's questions, about Richard's threats. What if they're right? What if this does look like you're playing favorites? What if I just made everything worse for you? Noah, stop. You didn't make anything worse. You exposed something that should have been exposed years ago. Yes, the timing is complicated. Yes, our relationship makes it messy, but that doesn't make it wrong. Your board members think it's wrong. 7-5, you said. That's barely a majority. Those 5 will come around when they see the evidence. And if they don't, Victoria was quiet. Then I'll deal with it. Noah, I need you to trust me. Can you do that? I trust you. I'm just scared. Good. Me too. That means we're paying attention. They talked for another hour until Noah had to pick up Emma from after-school care. His daughter bounced into the car full of stories about art class and playground politics, completely oblivious to the disaster unfolding around them. Noah was grateful for it, grateful for her normalcy, her innocence, her ability to make everything else fade into background noise. At home, he made dinner while Emma did homework. They ate together, watched a dinosaur documentary, went through the bedtime routine. Normal. Safe. Everything the rest of his life wasn't. After Emma was asleep, Noah sat in the dark living room and opened his laptop. The company intranet had been updated. A formal announcement about the investigation, professional language, carefully neutral, but the message was clear. Richard was done. The only question was how much damage he'd do on his way out. Noah's personal email pinged. Unknown sender. He opened it and felt his blood go cold. It was a photo. Him and Victoria at the park. The same one Richard had sent, but this time it was embedded in what looked like a draft news article. The headline read, Hale Industries CEO's questionable relationship raises ethics concerns. The article was poison. It implied Victoria had used her position to help Noah, that Noah had manipulated his way into her life to advance his career, that the investigation was a cover-up for their inappropriate relationship. It cited anonymous sources within the company and questions about conflict of interest. At the bottom was a message, publishing Friday unless investigation is dropped. Your move. Noah called Victoria immediately. Someone's threatening to leak our relationship to the press. They want the investigation dropped, or they publish. Forward me the email, now. Noah did. He could hear Victoria typing furiously on the other end. This is Richard's play. He can't win legitimately, so he's trying to force my hand. Threaten my reputation? Make this about scandal instead of facts. What do? We call his bluff. Noah, if we drop the investigation, Richard wins. He goes back to business as usual. You and everyone else he's stolen from get nothing. And he'll make sure you're fired within a month. But if we don't drop it, this goes public. Your reputation, the company's reputation, everything gets dragged through the mud. Better mud than surrender. Victoria's voice was steel. I'm not backing down. Are you? Noah thought about 4 years of silence. About Emma asking why he always looked tired. About the possibility of finally standing up for himself. No, I'm not backing down. Good. Because we're going to beat him. I'm forwarding this to our legal team and to the board. Blackmail is illegal. Whoever sent this just gave us ammunition. What if they publish anyway? Then they publish. We'll deal with it. Together. After they hung up, Noah couldn't sleep. He paced the apartment, checked on Emma 3 times, scrolled through his phone compulsively. At 2 a.m., his phone buzzed. Victoria. Can't sleep either? Not even close. I keep thinking about Friday, about what happens if they actually publish. We survive it, same as everything else. You make it sound simple. It's not simple, but it's survivable. I've survived worse, so have you. A pause, then, can I ask you something? Always. Do you regret it? Any of this? Meeting me, getting involved, all the mess that came with it? Noah looked at his phone for a long moment before typing. Not for a second. You? Not even close. They texted until sunrise, about nothing and everything. When Noah finally fell asleep on the couch, phone in hand, he dreamed about parking lots and photographs and headlines he couldn't control. Tuesday and Wednesday crawled by. The investigation continued. Auditors interviewed people throughout the engineering division. Noah was called in twice more, asked the same questions different ways, watched people take notes and exchange glances. He stuck to the truth, documented everything, kept copies. Richard's allies tried their best. 3 engineers, just like Richard had promised, gave statements claiming Noah was difficult to work with, that he'd been passed over for promotion repeatedly because of attitude problems, that this was revenge masquerading as justice. But the evidence was overwhelming. Every claim Noah had made checked out. Original files, timestamps, email chains, all of it pointed to systematic theft. By Thursday afternoon, HR had expanded the investigation to include 2 other managers in Richard's network. Victoria texted updates when she could, but they were brief, professional. No phone calls during work hours. No meetings. HR's recommendation to keep things private was being followed to the letter, even though it felt like suffocating. Thursday night, Noah took Emma to her favorite burger place. She was unusually quiet, pushing fries around her plate. What's wrong, sweetheart? Nothing. Emma, she looked up at him. Some kids at school said their parents said you're in trouble at work, that you did something bad. Noah's chest tightened. I didn't do anything bad. That's what I said, but they said their parents said you're dating the boss and that's why she's being mean to other people. Who said that? Sophia's mom. She works at your company. She told Sophia's dad and Sophia heard and told everyone at lunch. Noah closed his eyes. Of course. The gossip wasn't staying contained to work. It was spreading, bleeding into everything, touching his daughter. Listen to me, Emma. I am dating Victoria. That's true. But I'm not in trouble. Some people at work did some bad things, and now they're being investigated. That's all. Is that why everyone's being weird? Yeah, people don't always understand the whole story. They just hear parts and make assumptions. I don't like it when people say mean things about you. I know, baby. I don't like it either. But we're okay. You and me. That's what matters. Emma nodded, but didn't look convinced. They finished dinner in silence. Noah's phone buzzed as they were leaving. Unknown number. Hope your daughter enjoyed her burger. Cute kid. Be a shame if all this stress affected her schooling. Kids can be cruel when their parents are tabloid fodder. Noah stopped walking. Read it again. Felt rage flood through him so intense he couldn't see straight. They were threatening Emma now. Not directly, but the implication was clear. He called Victoria the second Emma was in bed. They just threatened my daughter. What? He read her the message. Victoria's response was immediate and furious. That's it. I'm done playing defense. Tomorrow morning, I'm holding a press conference. I'm getting ahead of this. Controlling the narrative before they do. Victoria, they brought your daughter into this. They crossed a line. I'm not waiting for them to publish their hit piece. I'm telling our story first. Our story? That we met, that we're seeing each other, that you came to me with legitimate concerns about workplace misconduct, that the investigation is based on evidence, not favoritism, that we have nothing to hide. Noah's head spun. You're going to publicly confirm we're together? Yes, because if we hide, they win. They get to control how this looks. But if we're honest, transparent, let the facts speak for themselves, we take away their power. The board is going to lose their minds. Let them. I'm the CEO. I run this company, and I'm not going to let Richard Castellano and his cronies destroy good people because they're afraid of accountability. What if this costs you everything? What if the board forces you out? Victoria laughed, sharp and bitter. Then I'll leave, and I'll take you with me. We'll figure it out, but I'm not letting them threaten your daughter. That's non-negotiable. Friday morning, Victoria held the press conference at 9 a.m. Noah watched it on the company intranet, along with what seemed like everyone else in the building. She stood at a podium, professional and composed, and laid it all out. Confirmed she and Noah were in a relationship. Explained that he had brought concerns about workplace misconduct to her attention. Detailed the investigation, the evidence, the systematic pattern of theft. Acknowledged the optics were complicated, but insisted the investigation was warranted and would continue regardless of any personal relationships. I understand there will be questions about conflict of interest, Victoria said, but I want to be clear. The evidence in this case is overwhelming. It exists independent of any relationship I have with anyone. My job is to protect the integrity of this company and the people who work here. That's what I'm doing. If anyone has concerns about my fitness to lead, the board meets monthly. They're welcome to voice those concerns. But I will not apologize for holding people accountable or for being honest about my personal life. The press erupted with questions. Victoria fielded them calmly, never wavering, never apologizing. When someone asked if she was worried about her reputation, she smiled. My reputation is built on results. Hale Industries has tripled in value under my leadership. We've expanded into 6 new markets. We employ 15,000 people. That's my reputation. Who I have dinner with doesn't change those facts. The conference ended after 20 minutes. Noah sat at his desk, heart pounding, phone exploding with texts. Marcus, your girlfriend is a badass. David, holy shit, she just owned that. Even people who'd been hostile earlier were grudgingly impressed. Victoria had taken the scandal they'd been preparing to weaponize and diffused it by refusing to treat it like a scandal. His desk phone rang. HR. Mr. Carter, Miss Hale would like to see you in her office. Now. Noah's stomach flipped. He'd never been to the executive floor. Didn't even know where Victoria's office was exactly. He took the elevator to the top floor, gave his name to the assistant, and was ushered into an office that was somehow both massive and understated. Victoria was standing at the window looking out at the city. She turned when he entered. Close the door. He did. They stood there for a moment, just looking at each other. That was insane, Noah said finally. That was necessary. You just told the entire world we're together. I did. Your board is going to crucify you. Probably. She crossed to him, took his hands. I don't care. They threatened Emma. That's where I draw the line. Victoria, you can't sacrifice your career for... I'm not sacrificing anything. I'm choosing. There's a difference. She squeezed his hands. Noah, I spent my entire life letting other people's expectations dictate my choices. What I should do, how I should act, who I should be. And it made me successful. It also made me miserable. I'm done with that. I'm choosing this. Choosing you. Choosing us. Whatever that costs. What if it costs everything? Then we start over, together. Noah pulled her close. Kissed her, felt something settle in his chest. Fear mixed with hope. Terror mixed with certainty. I love you, he said, surprising himself. Victoria pulled back, eyes wide. What? I love you. I know it's fast and it's crazy and we barely know each other, but I do. I love you. She laughed, and it sounded like relief. I love you too, which is probably the most reckless thing I've ever admitted. More reckless than that press conference? Much more. They stood there holding each other until Victoria's assistant buzzed in. Ms. Hale, the board chairman is on line 1. He sounds upset. Victoria sighed. Of course he does. She looked at Noah. I have to take this. But we're having dinner tonight. You, me, and Emma. No more hiding. No more pretending. Just us. You sure? Completely. Noah left her office feeling like he was walking on air and falling off a cliff simultaneously. The entire floor watched him get into the elevator. He didn't care. His phone rang before he reached his desk. Unknown number. Against his better judgment, he answered. Enjoy the show? Richard's voice was poison. You think you won. You didn't. That press conference just proved everything, that she's using her position to protect you, that this whole thing is personal, not professional. The evidence says otherwise. Evidence can be explained away. But you know what can't? Public opinion, the court of public perception. And right now, you look like a gold digger who seduced the boss to settle a grudge. Congratulations, Carter. You just destroyed both your reputations. We'll see.
Yes, we will. Richard's laugh was cold. I've been doing this a long time. I know how these things end. And this ends with you broken and forgotten, and her stepping down in disgrace. Enjoy the next few weeks. They're all you have left. The line went dead. Noah stood there, phone in hand, Richard's words echoing in his head. But underneath the fear was something else, something solid. Victoria had said she loved him. She'd chosen him publicly, knowing what it would cost. Emma liked her. They were building something real. Maybe Richard was right. Maybe this would end badly. Maybe the board would force Victoria out. Maybe Noah would lose his job. Maybe everything would fall apart. But maybe it wouldn't. Maybe for once the truth would actually matter. Maybe standing up for yourself didn't always end in disaster. Maybe love was worth the risk. Noah went back to his desk and got to work. He had 4 years of stolen ideas to reclaim. A daughter to pick up from school. A woman he loved waiting to have dinner. A future that was terrifying and uncertain and his. Whatever came next, they'd face it together. And that was enough. The weeks that followed Victoria's press conference felt like living inside a pressure cooker. The investigation ground forward with bureaucratic slowness, while the rest of the world moved at lightning speed. Media coverage exploded. Business journals ran think pieces about workplace ethics. Social media had opinions, loud, contradictory, relentless. Some called Victoria brave for being transparent. Others called her reckless, unprofessional, a CEO letting personal feelings compromise her judgment. Noah tried to ignore it, tried to focus on work, on Emma, on the evidence that kept mounting against Richard. But it was everywhere. Colleagues forwarded him articles, some supportive, most not. Emma's school friends repeated things their parents said. The grocery store clerk recognized him from a photo that had gone viral and asked for a selfie. This is surreal, Noah told Victoria over the phone one night, 3 weeks into the investigation. Yesterday, someone stopped me at the gas station and told me I was destroying feminism by making a successful woman look weak. What did you say? Nothing. What do you say to that? Victoria laughed tiredly. I got accused of setting back female CEOs 50 years because I couldn't separate personal and professional. Also of being a feminist icon for refusing to hide my relationship. Apparently I'm both the problem and the solution, depending on who's talking. How are you holding up? Honestly, some days I'm fine. Some days I want to throw my phone into the ocean and move to a cabin in Montana. She paused. The board met yesterday. Emergency session. Noah's stomach dropped. And? They voted to keep me on, for now. 8-4 this time. I gained 3 votes. That's good, right? It means they're seeing the evidence, realizing this isn't about us, it's about Richard. But Noah, those 4 dissenting votes aren't going away. They want me gone. They're just waiting for an excuse. So we don't give them one. We're trying, but every day there's something new. Some blog post or tweet or opinion piece about how inappropriate this all is. It's exhausting. Noah heard the strain in her voice, the cracks in the armor she usually wore so well. When's the last time you slept? I don't know. Tuesday? Victoria. I'm fine. You're not fine. Neither am I. We're both running on fumes and adrenaline, and this can't be sustainable. She was quiet for a moment. What are you suggesting? I don't know. Maybe we take a breath? Maybe we stop trying to control everything and just let the investigation finish. We did what we could. The evidence speaks for itself. The rest is out of our hands. I hate that. I know, me too. But we can't keep living like this. Emma asked me yesterday why I'm always on the phone, why I look sad all the time. I don't want her growing up watching me fight invisible battles every single day. You're right, Victoria sighed. You're absolutely right. I'm coming over. I need to see you both. Remind myself what I'm fighting for. She arrived an hour later, still in her work clothes, looking wrung out. Emma was already in her pajamas, working on a drawing at the kitchen table. She looked up when Victoria walked in. You look tired, Emma said bluntly. Victoria laughed. I am tired. Daddy's tired too. You're both working too hard. Probably.
Emma held up her drawing. Look, I made a picture of a Stegosaurus family. That's the mom, that's the dad, that's the baby. Victoria sat down beside her, studying the crayon drawing seriously. The baby's my favorite. Look at those little plates on its back. They're called scutes, and they're not little. They just look little because he's a baby. When he grows up, they'll be huge. You know a lot about dinosaurs. I know everything about dinosaurs. Emma looked between Victoria and Noah. Are you and Daddy going to get married? Noah choked on his coffee. Emma, we talked about this. I know, but that was before. Now Victoria comes over all the time and you smile at each other weird and you hold hands when you think I'm not looking. That's what people do when they're going to get married. Victoria's eyes met Noah's across the table. There was something soft there, something vulnerable. What if we did? Victoria asked Emma. Would that be okay with you? Emma considered this seriously. Would you live here? Probably not. My house is bigger. Would I get my own room? You'd get your own room. Would Daddy still make pancakes on Sundays? Absolutely. Emma nodded. Then yes, that would be okay. Noah couldn't breathe. Victoria had just proposed, sort of, to his daughter, and Emma had negotiated terms like a tiny lawyer, and nobody had asked him, but he didn't care because the answer was yes, had always been yes, would always be yes. Victoria, he managed. She looked at him, and her expression was terrified and hopeful at the same time. Too fast? Completely insane. Is that a no? That's a, we've known each other 5 weeks, and we're in the middle of a corporate scandal, and this is objectively crazy. That's not an answer. Noah looked at Emma, who was watching them with wide eyes. Looked at Victoria, exhausted and beautiful and absolutely serious. Thought about everything they'd been through, everything still ahead, all the reasons this shouldn't work. Yes, he said. Whenever you want to actually ask me properly, the answer's yes. Victoria smiled, and it was the first genuine, unguarded smile he'd seen from her in weeks. Okay, then. Okay? Okay. Emma went back to her drawing like they hadn't just decided to completely upend their lives. Noah and Victoria sat at the kitchen table, hands linked, letting the weight of what they'd just committed to settle over them. We're really doing this? Victoria asked quietly. Apparently. Your daughter just negotiated pancakes into our marriage contract. She's thorough. Gets it from her mom. Victoria squeezed his hand. I'm scared. Good. Me too. Means it matters. The investigation concluded 4 weeks after Victoria's press conference. The final report was 300 pages of documentation, interviews, and evidence. It confirmed everything Noah had claimed. Richard Castellano had systematically stolen ideas from junior engineers for over 6 years. He'd falsified reports, misattributed work, and built his entire reputation on fraud. 2 other managers had been complicit. 6 engineers, including Noah, had been victims. Richard was terminated immediately. The 2 managers were placed on probation pending further review. HR recommended policy changes, additional oversight, and a formal apology to everyone affected. The board met to review the findings. This time, the vote was unanimous. The investigation had been warranted. Victoria's handling had been appropriate. Richard was banned from the premises and threatened with legal action if he attempted any retaliation. Noah got the call on a Thursday afternoon. Jennifer Walsh from HR, voice carefully neutral. Mr. Carter, the investigation has concluded. Your claims have been substantiated. The company formally apologizes for the hostile work environment you experienced. We'd like to discuss next steps. What kind of next steps? We're restructuring the engineering division, creating new positions with appropriate oversight. We'd like to offer you a senior engineering role with a significant salary increase. You'd be reporting directly to the division VP, not a supervisor. Your ideas would be properly attributed. You'd have autonomy and resources. Noah sat down heavily. How significant an increase? She named a number that was nearly double his current salary. Enough to move out of his cramped apartment, enough to save for Emma's college, enough to breathe. There's one condition, Jennifer continued. Given your relationship with Ms. Hale, you'd need to sign a conflict of interest disclosure. Regular reviews to ensure there's no preferential treatment. Complete transparency about your relationship status. It's non-negotiable. I understand. Do you accept? Noah thought about 4 years of staying quiet. About finally being heard. About building something better. Not just for himself, but for everyone who came after. Yes, I accept, Victoria screamed when he told her. Actual screaming, followed by crying, followed by kissing him so hard they both forgot where they were until her assistant knocked to remind her about a conference call. You did it, Victoria said, laughing and crying at the same time. You actually did it. We did it together. What are you going to tell Emma? That we're moving, that things are going to be different, better. When? I don't know, soon after we figure out the rest. The rest meant wedding planning, which turned out to be significantly more complicated than either of them expected. Victoria wanted something small and private. Noah wanted Emma involved in every decision. They compromised on a ceremony at the park where they'd had their second date, with just close friends and family. Marcus served as best man and gave a speech about how he'd never seen Noah this happy, how Sarah would have approved, how Victoria better take care of his best friend or else. Tessa was maid of honor and cried through the entire ceremony. Emma was flower girl and took her responsibilities so seriously that she corrected the officiant's pronunciation of matrimony. They honeymooned for a week, just the three of them, at a beach house Victoria rented. Emma built sandcastles and collected shells and asked approximately 8,000 questions about marine biology. Noah taught her to body surf. Victoria learned that sunscreen was non-negotiable with a 6-year-old, and that relaxation was actually possible when you turned your phone off. On their last night, after Emma was asleep, they sat on the beach watching the waves. I keep waiting for the other shoe to drop, Noah said, for something to go wrong. Nothing's going to go wrong. You don't know that. No, but I choose to believe it anyway. Victoria leaned against him. I spent so long being afraid. Afraid of vulnerability, of letting people in, of wanting things I wasn't supposed to want. And then I met you and Emma and I realized fear was just keeping me from living. Very philosophical for midnight on a beach. I'm serious. Before you, I was successful and miserable. I had everything I was supposed to want and none of what actually mattered. Now I have you and Emma and pancakes on Sundays and soccer games and chaos and mess and actual life. That's worth any amount of scandal or board meetings or corporate drama. Noah kissed her temple. I love you, even when you get weirdly deep at midnight. I love you too, even when you're a smartass. They moved into Victoria's house the following month. It was massive, intimidating, nothing like the cramped apartment Noah was used to. Emma got her own room, just as promised, and immediately filled it with dinosaur posters and science books. Noah set up his office in the spare room overlooking the garden. Victoria converted part of the basement into a workshop where Noah could tinker with engineering projects without worrying about waking anyone. The transition wasn't seamless. Emma had nightmares the first week, scared in a new place. Noah felt out of place among Victoria's expensive furniture and art he didn't understand. Victoria struggled with the noise and chaos of living with a 6-year-old after years of pristine quiet. But they figured it out. They established routines. Family dinners every night, no phones allowed. Sunday pancakes, non-negotiable. One night a week, Noah and Victoria went out alone while Tessa watched Emma. One weekend a month, Marcus took Emma for an overnight so Noah and Victoria could remember they were married, not just co-parents. At work, Noah thrived in his new role. His ideas were finally heard, properly credited, implemented. He rebuilt the engineering division's culture from the ground up, instituting anonymous feedback systems and regular audits to prevent another Richard situation. 3 junior engineers he'd worked with before sought him out, thanking him for speaking up, for making the workplace safer. Victoria faced ongoing scrutiny. Some board members never fully forgave her for the scandal, for choosing love over optics, for being human instead of the perfect CEO they demanded. But the company's numbers were strong, the culture was improving, and gradually even her critics had to admit she'd made the right call. 2 years after that first blind date, Noah stood in the kitchen making pancakes while Emma and Victoria argued about whether velociraptors could have been domesticated like dogs. They were predators, Victoria said, pack hunters. You can't domesticate that. But dogs were wolves, and we domesticated them, Emma countered. She was 8 now, missing 2 front teeth and absolutely relentless in debates. Wolves are social animals. Velociraptors were also social. They hunted in packs. That's social. That's cooperative hunting, not the same thing. Noah flipped pancakes and listened to them debate, feeling something warm and settled in his chest. This was his life now. Arguments about dinosaurs and Sunday morning pancakes, and a house that was too big but somehow felt exactly right. His phone buzzed. Marcus. Brunch next week? Haven't seen you guys in forever. You saw us 3 days ago. Exactly. Forever. Noah smiled and pocketed his phone. He plated the pancakes, called everyone to the table, watched his daughter and his wife. His wife, even after 2 years it still felt surreal, continue their heated paleontology debate. Daddy, tell her I'm right, Emma demanded. I'm not getting involved in this. That's because you know I'm right, Victoria said smugly. That's because I don't know anything about velociraptors, and I'm smart enough to admit it. They ate breakfast together, Emma still arguing her case between bites, Victoria laughing and conceding points with exaggerated reluctance. After, Emma ran upstairs to get ready for her soccer game. Victoria helped Noah clean up. Thank you, she said quietly. For what? For staying. That first night at Russo's. For not running when you saw me crying. For taking a chance on something completely insane. Noah pulled her close. Thank you for the same, for seeing me, for believing me, for being brave enough to choose this even when everyone said you shouldn't. Best decision I ever made. Same. Emma thundered back downstairs, soccer uniform on backwards, one cleat missing. We're going to be late. Coach says if we're late, we have to run extra laps. They found the cleat, fixed the uniform, piled into the car. At the soccer field, Emma ran off to join her team. Noah and Victoria sat on the sidelines with the other parents, watching their daughter chase the ball with more enthusiasm than skill. She's terrible at this, Victoria observed. Completely terrible. Should we suggest a different sport? Absolutely not. She loves it. That's what matters. Victoria leaned her head on his shoulder. You're a good dad. I'm trying. You're succeeding. The game was chaotic, disorganized, barely resembling actual soccer. Emma scored an accidental goal when the ball bounced off her knee into the net. She celebrated like she'd won the World Cup. Noah and Victoria cheered louder than anyone else. After the game, they got ice cream. Emma got chocolate again, got it everywhere again. Told them about how her friend Tyler claimed his dad could beat up anyone's dad. But Emma said her dad was smarter than fighting, which was better. Violence is never the answer, Emma said seriously, quoting something Noah had told her months ago. Unless it's dinosaurs. Then violence is how you survive. Sound logic, Victoria said, trying not to laugh. They drove home as the sun started setting. Emma fell asleep in the back seat, sticky and happy and completely worn out. Noah carried her upstairs, Victoria following with the soccer bag and ice cream-stained jacket. They tucked Emma into bed, kissed her goodnight, stood in her doorway for a moment just watching her sleep. We made this work, Victoria whispered. Against all odds, we actually made this work. Did you doubt we would? Every single day at first, less now. But sometimes I still can't believe this is real, that I get to have this. Noah took her hand, led her downstairs to the living room. They collapsed on the couch, exhausted and content. Do you ever think about that first night? Victoria asked. About how close we came to not doing this? All the time. I almost bailed. If Emma hadn't pushed me, I would have texted Marcus some excuse and stayed home. I almost left the restaurant, before you even got there. I was sitting there crying and thinking this was the stupidest idea anyone ever had. What made you stay? Victoria thought about it. Desperation, probably. Loneliness. The smallest hope that maybe, just maybe, something could be different. What made you stay? You. The way you looked up when you realized I'd seen you crying, like you were expecting judgment but hoping for kindness. I couldn't walk away from that. Best decision either of us made. Definitely top 5. Victoria laughed and kissed him. They sat there in the quiet house, just being together. No corporate drama or investigations or media scrutiny. Just two people who'd found each other against impossible odds and decided to fight for it. Noah's phone buzzed. Email from work. A project proposal one of his team members had submitted. Innovative, well-researched, properly attributed. He approved it with a note of encouragement and put the phone away. Work? Victoria asked.
Someone else's good idea getting the credit it deserves. Feels good. You changed that place. Changed the whole culture. We changed it. You were the one who had the power to actually do something. And you were the one brave enough to speak up. We needed both. They needed both. That was the truth of it. Noah couldn't have fought Richard alone. Victoria couldn't have built this life alone. Emma needed both of them. They needed each other.
Love wasn't about finding someone perfect. It was about finding someone real. Someone who saw your flaws and stayed anyway. Someone who fought beside you instead of for you. Someone who made you braver than you'd be alone. Sarah had taught him that first. Victoria taught him he could have it again. 3 months later, Victoria came home from work looking stunned. The board offered me a contract extension. 5 years. Unanimous vote. Noah pulled her into his arms. That's incredible. They said the company culture has never been stronger. That the transparency initiative we started after the investigation has become an industry model. That they were wrong to doubt me. She pulled back, eyes bright with unshed tears. They actually apologized. The board chairman apologized for questioning my judgment. You earned it, every bit of it. We earned it. That night, they celebrated with champagne and takeout Chinese food because Emma requested it specifically. They toasted to second chances and impossible odds, and the courage to choose happiness over safety. Emma raised her juice box. To family. To family, Noah and Victoria echoed. Later, after Emma was in bed, Noah and Victoria stood on their back porch looking at the stars. You know what the best part is? Victoria said. It's not the contract extension or the board's approval or any of that. It's this. Standing here with you, knowing Emma's upstairs safe and happy, having an actual life outside the office. That's what matters. No regrets? Not one. You? Noah thought about his cramped apartment, his stolen ideas, his years of barely surviving. Thought about the risk he'd taken walking into Russo's that night, about every terrifying choice that led him here. Not one, he said. This is exactly where I'm supposed to be. The truth was simpler than any of them had realized. Success wasn't about money or power or winning battles. Success was pancakes on Sunday mornings. It was arguments about dinosaurs and terrible soccer games and ice cream that got everywhere. It was finding someone who made you want to be braver, better, more honest. It was choosing each other every single day, even when it was hard, especially when it was hard. They'd both spent years being what other people needed them to be. Noah, the struggling single dad who never complained. Victoria, the ruthless CEO who never showed weakness. They'd been playing roles, surviving instead of living. Then they'd found each other and remembered what it felt like to be seen. Really seen. Not as roles or positions or functions, but as people. Complicated, flawed, scared, hopeful people trying to figure out how to be happy. That was the thing about second chances. They didn't come with guarantees. They came with risk and uncertainty and the possibility of spectacular failure. But they also came with the possibility of something real, something worth fighting for. Noah had lost Sarah and thought that was the end of love for him. Victoria had built an empire and thought that was all she deserved. They'd both been wrong. Love wasn't an ending. It was a beginning. An invitation to be brave enough to want things, to admit you needed people, to build something together that neither of you could build alone. 6 months later, Emma came home from school with an assignment. Tell us about your family, the worksheet said. She filled it out carefully, tongue sticking out in concentration. My family is Dad and Victoria and me. Dad makes pancakes and helps with math homework and works with computers or something. Victoria runs a big company and knows about business stuff, but not about dinosaurs. I'm going to teach her. We live in a big house, and I have my own room with dinosaur posters. Uncle Marcus visits a lot, and Aunt Tessa babysits sometimes. We're happy. She showed it to Noah that night. He read it twice, throat tight. This is perfect, sweetheart. Is Victoria really my family? Like, officially? She married me. That makes her your stepmom. So yes, officially. Good. I like having a mom again, even if she doesn't know about dinosaurs. Noah hugged her tight. I like it too. That simple truth, we're happy, was everything. Not perfect, not without problems or arguments or hard days, but happy. Actually happy. Actually, they'd taken the messiest possible path to get here. Corporate scandal, public scrutiny, threats and blackmail, and battles that should have destroyed them. They'd survived it all because they chose each other, because they were honest when it mattered, because they were willing to fight for something real instead of settling for something safe. The restaurant where it all started, Russo's, closed down eventually. The park where they'd had their second date was renovated. The apartment Noah used to live in got new tenants. The world kept turning, kept changing, kept moving forward, but some things stayed the same. Sunday pancakes, Emma's soccer games, Victoria's fierce dedication to fairness, Noah's quiet strength, the family they'd built from broken pieces and impossible odds. Years later, when people asked how they met, Victoria and Noah would exchange a look and smile. They'd tell the story of the blind date neither of them wanted, the crying CEO, and the struggling single dad who saw each other's loneliness and decided to do something about it. They'd leave out the parts about corporate espionage and blackmail and board meetings that almost destroyed everything. Those were important, but they weren't the point. The point was simple. Two lonely people found each other and chose to be brave, chose to be honest, chose to build something real even when everyone said they shouldn't, and that made all the difference.